All right, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us today for our May edition of our small group demo, where we're focused on custom actions within the AI assistant. I'm really excited to show you a little bit about how these work and some of the problems that we're aiming to solve. And so excited to be joined by some of my colleagues here today. I'm joined by a couple of individuals across different teams, but I'll let each of them just quickly introduce themselves after give you a quick introduction of myself. My name is Brandon Eccles. I'm a member of the product marketing team here at Contentstack, and that works with our AI products, and really excited to be able to share a little bit more about custom actions today. But I'll pass it over to Christine to introduce herself.
Hello, thank you, Brandon. My name is Christine Masters, and I am a product manager here at Contentstack working on AI and automation. Really excited to be sharing some tips and tricks with you guys today.
Yep. And nice to meet you all. I'm Gabrielle Susan, a sales engineer here at Contentstack. So I will be running through the demo portion today and can answer any technical questions and do kind of offline demos after the session as well.
Great. And just quickly, we'll run through what the agenda is for today. We don't want to take up a bunch of your time. We really appreciate you joining us, and hopefully we can just get you some quick value, show you some of how these work, and then get you on your way. But we're going to just talk about some of the challenges that are around AI-generated content and things we run into on a common basis. And then we want to go into just what custom actions are and how they're used within Contentstack. And we'll talk about some specific use cases, examples that are really relevant to the work that you're doing on a regular basis, and then maybe talk about some of the potential use cases that y'all have or that you've been thinking about using with AI. And then we're going to go into a live demo, show you some of these use cases in action and how they work, how they're set up on the back, on the kind of the configured on the back end, and then what that authoring experience looks like using them. And then if you have questions, please submit them throughout. We'd love to answer them. And so we'll have some time for that at the end as well. And then real quick, before we jump into it, just because this is an exciting time of year for us at Contentstack, we're getting all ready and prepared for our annual user conference next month, ContentCon. Just a quick call out if you are interested or if you've been thinking about attending, we'd love to have you. We have tons of breakout workshops and things where we'll be covering things like AI, and some of my colleagues here will be there as well. So we'll be able to help you if you have ideas and things you're looking to implement. It'd be a great time to collaborate with a bunch of other Contentstack users and team members. So we'd love to see you there if you're able to. All right, let's talk about some of the challenges with AI and generating, just specifically generating content. And if you're on this call, I imagine that you're familiar with using some of the generative AI services that exist. And so you probably have felt some of these pains before. But we know that it's really hard to just get results that are consistent and that don't sound generic or robotic and that can really sound like what your brand or your voice sounds like, right? We all have the familiarity with in the digital age or in the day of, and these ways that AI is always starting their sentences or just common things we see throughout. But that's one of the first challenges that we see a lot of. And then having to go back and forth all the time, right? You get something good, but there's one part of it that's wrong. And so you're doing all this kind of constant back and forth tweaking, which kind of defeats the purpose of all the time saving benefits of AI in the first place, right? So one of the other things that we run into a lot. And then scaling AI implementations just in a successful way, right? Just figuring out what those use cases look like and how do you do it in a way that's safe and what's going on with my data and where is it being trained and all these questions that people have. Plus, a lot of people know that your team members are already using ChatGPT and they're using these services to work and to produce content. You want to make sure that what they're doing is governed and is controlled. And this is another thing that you run into as you start scaling is there's all this, it becomes a lot easier to generate content, and that means there's a lot of lower quality content that can be generated. So keeping that in control is what we find really challenging. So that kind of is what led us to creating custom actions and what they are. And so I'm going to pass it over to Christine, who's going to be able to walk through just a little bit of what they are and the benefits that they offer.
Yeah, and I did wanted to call out, I think it's very important what you said about being able to operationalize the AI. There's a lot of companies now that know that employees are using it and that it's out there, and just want to be able to make sure that it meets their requirements as a business and that it's, you know, useful to the company. So yeah, this is something that we came up with as part of our AI assistant. AI assistant is a toolbar that allows you to utilize different AI LLMs models inside of your entry editor, and that way, you know, again, you don't have to cut and paste back from, you know, ChatGPT window, that kind of thing. You're able to actually use it within the interface. And yeah, this is something that we have our own baked in actions, things like making text longer, making it sort of SEO optimized, but you might have something very specific to your organization that you want to implement in a specific, you know, a certain way. And these allow you to create custom prompts that can be baked into the AI assistant that you can utilize across your stack in your organization in a consistent way, and that will allow you to implement those and, you know, do some custom things right there within that interface. And again, AI Assistant is a free tool that we offer as part of our marketplace, so it's really easy to use and something that you can set up really quickly and start using today.
Let's dive into some of the use cases then, and what you can use it for, and what some of the ones we'll cover today.
Awesome. Yeah, I kind of mentioned sort of being able to enforce your brand voice or specific rules that you might have about your company. There, you know, I know that some companies that I've worked with before said, you know, we don't want to say buy one get one free. It's always BOGO, BOGO, right? Things like that, where you're able to implement a very specific type of style or a specific way that you say something. You can actually create prompts that tell AI to rewrite the content in a specific way, in even a tone of voice, or making it more, you know, shorter sentences, easier to read, mentioning specific words, making sure that instead of saying this word, you kind of always say this word. And you're able to actually build these multi-layer prompts. You can actually incorporate examples in them as well. And so this is one with enforced brand voice that's a great way to do that. You can have it, you know, again, an employee can come into the page, be reviewing something, enforce the brand voice, have some minor changes there, review them, and then save it and send it on to the next workflow stage. So it's a great way to incorporate that very easily at the point of work while you're working on the material.
Yeah, I think of companies that have like unique or specific vernacular, and you know, that may get caught up as general language, but you know, maybe unique to them or defined differently by them. You know, certainly someone like Ford, who has like a Mustang model car, but also is a noun of a horse, right? A type of horse. So
Right.
they'd want to be able to distinguish between how AI talks about those two things. And so that would be an example of like how different types of language or specific language vernacular that you'd include in these types of instructions. So yeah, this is a really great one. But yeah, so let's move on to the next one then.
Yeah, so we actually have some built-in keyword tags that you can do that actually works really well. Extracting out especially SEO optimized or relevant keywords from an article is something that AI is really good at and has been good at for many years. But you know, there are times when you want to have specific corpus of keywords that you're utilizing, and it might be you're doing it for behavioral tracking, or you're maybe specifically trying to emphasize certain keywords or phrases for SEO purposes, or to, you know, rank well in a certain search term, and making sure that you have those things plugged in, and you can actually build a prompt that says, out of these specific keywords, go ahead and to analyze this context and pull out the ones that are specific to this article. So you can have it, instead of saying like any keyword, which is what the kind of the standard tagging prompt that we have included in the tool currently, you can actually tell it only to use these specific keywords and incorporate your own corpus specific for your organization. So again, that's just another way to you know, incorporate specific rules that you have within your organization, and are able to have those available across the entire company so that everybody's using those same prompts and emphasizing those same keywords.
Yeah, I love this one. Because again, yeah, relying solely on AI, you'll come up with a bunch of stuff that you know won't be relevant. So
yeah,
this last one, I just to kind of tee this up for you, Christine, I love this one just because this is related to the first one we went over, where we're putting some guidance or direction around how you talk about your brand and your company and your voice. But this really adds another level of complexity or to your custom actions, and specifically around creating product descriptions. But love how this touches on one of like the sub features of custom actions that I'll let Christine talk about.
Yeah, this was a kind of an interesting one, because we, some of our customers have been using AI Assistant for a while and have been working on their own custom prompts. And some of them started creating so many custom prompts that it started to get a little bit too long within the toolbar. So this was something where we're essentially just allowing you to create submenus within the toolbar, so you can kind of organize and structure how your custom prompts are formulated. So you can have, again, let's say we have 5 different types of tones of voice, or maybe 5 different ways that you're enforcing brand voice for different situations or for different sections of your site. Those could all be like different things. You could have one enforce brand voice tool, and then underneath that you have 5 different voices or 5 different rule sets that you're implementing on behalf of that particular prompt, and you can kind of organize them and structure them that way. So that's a really nice way to do that. And then
like maybe a voice, like a voice that's more casual for like a blog post or social, but then something that's maybe a little bit more formal for a press release or something like that, right?
Like
So
documentation. Yeah, you could have some rules around documentation that are different than your rules around your marketing posts and things like that. Exactly. And I will
maybe
also
you have
say
different personas that you speak to, and that this would be a chance for you to, add additional instructions or insights into that prompt based on the persona stuff. Yeah, love this. It's so versatile.
And I do think that this one is also a good example of how you can take a prompt and kind of give instructions for how it should build out that summary. So like in this case, it's kind of giving you like summaries of different services, and it talks about like I want you to start off by having a eye-catching, attention-catching phrase, and then I want you to describe this part of a product or service, and then I want you to end with a call to action. So you can kind of give it instructions for how to build those summaries or those descriptions, and it's able to follow those really well. So this is also an example of kind of building up those type of descriptions as well.
Yeah, love it. All right, let's move over to the live portion. Gabrielle, do you want to take over here and let you share?
Sure, sounds good. Awesome. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here, and we will jump into a live demo to see all of these awesome actions live. Awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we can actually configure this AI assistant application and create these custom prompts. And then we'll look at the kind of content editor experience of actually using that as they're creating content and creating different pages. So if you're familiar with Contentstack, right, I'm at my organization where I have my different stacks, which are my different repositories of content. To actually install our AI assistant, that's where we have our Contentstack marketplace. This is kind of our one-stop shop for all of your 1 to 3 click integrations that we build out. So you can see here, we have this category for our AI assistant. So for the demo today, this is what we want to install in our stack. So I'm going to go ahead and click install, and then I can choose my stack here. I have a specific stack here that I want to install and accept some permissions from our marketplace. And we can see here in this configuration screen from our AI assistant, we have the option to have this actually managed by Contentstack. So use Contentstack's own AI account to get started really quick and also free, I should add. Or if you have your own AI credentials, you can use your own AI, and you can see we have a number of different AI services, whether you're Google Shop, Azure, AWS, kind of whatever your company uses, you can manage those credentials here. For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to use the ones managed by Contentstack and go ahead and proceed. So this is where you can see we're able to create our own advanced configuration and those custom prompts. If I go ahead and click create action, you can see here, this is where I can give a name to this prompt, which is what the editors will see. And then I can give that detailed prompt that's really going to apply to our specific company's brand voice here. For the purpose of today's demo, you can see we can actually import a config, so a configuration of these prompts if you have one already created, which I do in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and click, oops, I just clicked on the wrong file here, my AI configs, and click this custom config, and we'll see what this generates for me. You can see I have 3 different actions, this tag with company specific keywords, the brand voice, and the on-brand product descriptions that Christine and Brandon were just going over in those slides.
And if you have ones that exist out there already, it'll ask you if you want to merge them. So if you have some already, don't be worried about incorporating these.
Yep, it will give you that option. Thanks, Christine. And so, yeah, we can see this is what they're talking about. I have these custom actions, and I just import this for the sake of time, but here's that custom name. And then you can see these are those detailed descriptions, right, of really having this match our customer's brand voice, right? The specific keywords. You can see right here, we're giving them example inputs, outputs, and the specific keywords that we want them to use, that we want AI to use for those SEO tagging, for enforcing brand voice. We can see we have, right, our specific guidelines. Don't use overly technical jargon. Use conversational language, right? Here are some brands, kind of apply it to this. So we're really making these prompt specific. So kind of as Christine was mentioning, right? When you find these prompts that really work, this allows your content editors to use these prompts throughout your entire site and really have kind of this cohesive experience. And this one is kind of showing the example with those sub prompts, right? Acting as a marketing expert. And then we're giving those different sub prompts. So we want them to create a product overview, but one for maybe we have specific criteria for technical services than we do for new product offerings, than we do for accelerators, so on and so forth. Awesome. So now that I have my actions, I'm good. Let's go ahead and click Save and Proceed. And I'm going to go ahead and save this app. And so that's really all that you need to do to configure this AI assistant. And then we can go ahead here and jump right into this stack where I've installed our AI assistant, and we can start using this in action.
And one really quick thing to know before you go on is that, you know, if you have like a test stack, this is really great to put this on the test stack. When you install it, it does go live across that entire stack, whichever one you're on. So if you want to experiment with it first, that's something where you can add it to a test stack or something like that in the beginning.
Thanks, Christine. Yep, and now I'm just navigating into our entry screen. So entries are kind of different pieces of content that you have within Contentstack. You can see I have a number of pre-built entries for the demo today. Let's say we want to create a new article, and we're going to use these custom prompts to actually generate this article for us and get this out and live very quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new entry of this type article. And right, we can kind of act as Contentstack, right? We're the SaaS product. We have new product offerings very often. We're constantly innovating. So we want to get different blog posts and articles and information on our site about these new product offerings. So let's say, right, I'm acting as a Contentstack marketer, and I want to write an article for Contentstack's AI assistant, right? As that is what we are talking about today. So I'm going to go ahead and give this title. We can see our URL is auto-generating. I'm just going to go ahead and click save right here, because as I use AI to generate this content, we can also view what this is actually going to look like on our site using Contentstack's live preview, which is this side-by-side editor interface. So we can see here we have this with our title right here. And just to make this pretty before we generate content with AI, I'm going to go ahead and add an image here from Contentstack's asset library. Awesome. So one thing that I want to do first with, right, I wrote this Contentstack's AI assistant, but this is a pretty bland title for our article. I want this to match the brand voice for this headline that we use for our company. So I can go ahead here and use this enforce brand voice custom action that we created. And we can see that this actually generates this right within the Contentstack interface and generates, right, this different title here. Right, and maybe this is a little bit long for our heading right here. We can also use different prompts with AI. Maybe we want to change the length and make this shorter, right? So you can kind of really add on top of these different custom prompts here with AI. Awesome. So if we scroll down a little bit right here, and let's go ahead and paste in some content right here. Maybe just some content I've quickly thrown together about our custom actions with our AI assistant in our rich text editing field. And then maybe this is an area where we want to go ahead and generate this to be more specific for the specific product offering. So once again, using our AI assistant right here. And just to take a closer look, right? Here we have these custom actions that we created. These are the different actions that come with our AI assistant, kind of pre-built ones. And then we can also write this content from scratch or generate content based on other fields. The purpose of today's session is on the custom action. So I'm just going to focus on this today, but do know that this all exists as well. So for here, let's say I want to create an on-brand product description for a new product offering, which is our Contentstack's AI assistant here. So we can see it's going to use that information that we put in that prompt. It's going to write this inline in this text editor. And then at the same time, we can also see this incrementally add to our live preview what AI is generating for us. So you can see it's using kind of that catchy headline that we told it to do. It's doing that kind of 3 to 5 sentences, the length that we like for our articles, for our new product offerings, and really sticking with our brand voice at Contentstack for our articles. So we have that consistent messaging throughout our site here. And then also just to show, right, if we want to create a summary right here, I'll just show off one different prompt here where I can actually generate content based off of other fields. So I just want to create a summary based off of that content from that product offering prompt we just created. And this will just create a quick summary for me right under this image. And I'll go ahead and click accept there. As I scroll down, I'm just skipping through a couple of fields here. And you can see here we have this tag field here. So maybe we want to generate some SEO tags or some company specific tags. That's where we can also use AI. Does a really good job of generating that for us based off of this existing content. So I'll scroll down a little bit. And right here, you can see we have fields where I could generate SEO tags based off another field. However, this isn't using any of our specific brand voice or guidelines that we gave them. So that's where this custom prompt really comes in handy, is to tag it with company specific keywords. So I can actually tag it with company specific keywords, once again, based off of that body of the article, and it's only going to use the tags that we gave in that custom prompt. So I'll go ahead and generate those tags, and we can see instead of creating a whole list of ones that might not be relevant, these are really relevant tags for Contentstack in this AI assistant new product offering. So we can see, right, in just a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes, I generated this new article using AI, rewriting the description, the headline, having it generate a summary, and tagging this appropriate for me. I'll go ahead and give this another quick save in Contentstack. And as you create different versions of your content with AI, right, with Contentstack, all your different versions are saved. So you can always roll back and see a previous version of that content, compare the differences, right, if I had made some different changes there on between different AI versions. And then we can go ahead and publish this out. Maybe we just want to preview how this is going to look before sending it through a workflow to production. So I'm just going to go ahead and publish this right now and send with references here. And then we can scroll back up to the top, use this nice URL hover to find this article in my AI assistant. And we can see here we have our new headline, this image, the summary, and also this body that was written by AI for this article here using those custom prompts. And as Christine was mentioning, right, these are not just on this specific article content type. If I was writing homepage content, blog articles, product detail pages, right, I'll be able to use this AI assistant custom prompt throughout my whole site. Cool. I will end there with 4 minutes left and open it up to any questions anyone has.
Yeah, Gabrielle, we have a few questions, so let's try and get to them. I want to just take about 30 seconds real quick before we do that. If I can share here, but real quick, just want to talk about we've talked about a lot of things that relate to being on brand and keeping your brand voice and everything in these AI prompts and making sure that your responses are on brand. Stay tuned, because at ContentCon we are going to be talking about something that's really exciting that applies to some kind of org or stack-wide settings that would allow you to set up some ways to keep your brand voice intact rather than just doing it through a long list of custom actions. But stay tuned, because we have some really exciting stuff coming at ContentCon next month that we're really excited about and think will be just a big step up, adding on to what custom actions can do for you. So stay tuned there. But let's answer some quick questions that we had. I want to just quickly, Chris asked about if the AI assistant rules can be applied across content types and stacks. And the answer, yes. Christine, I'll let you be the expert though.
Sure. Yeah, we actually, each stack has its own AI assistant, so it can have kind of custom rules and different customizations for each of the different stacks. But using that export and import that Gabrielle showed earlier, you can keep them in sync by just adding them as you add them to multiple stacks.
And then I think there were some other questions that got answered in the chat. Are there any that I'm making sure that there are none that got missed? But it looks like we got through a lot of them there.
And I'm going to go ahead and post a blog post here. We actually have links to the JSON that I was importing. I think there was a question from Stephen about seeing that JSON. If you click on this article and look through it, we have links in this article to the different JSONs, the exact ones I was importing.
Yeah, the file that you import actually has the JSON kind of configuration that you can see in there. And you can build your own custom ones and import those as well. It does do, just like, think of this exactly like we're passing this through directly to whatever the LLM you're using is. So if you tell it to respond in Markdown, it will respond in Markdown. You have to consider what field you're using. Like if you're using our JSON editor or a rich text editor, we also, we'll actually translate back and forth between JSON and then HTML. And then we talk to the AI in HTML, the AI responds in HTML, and then we translate it back into JSON for the JSON rich text editor. So, but if you want to use Markdown and your whatever field that you're working with supports that, it will use that. You can tell AI to respond that way.
Great. Well, with about a few seconds to spare, I think this is a great time to end. So thank you so much for everybody for attending today. Hopefully we got some insight and value out of this. And if you have more questions, please reach out to us. Let us know. Reach out to your account reps. We'll be happy to help out in any way we can. But we will see you next month.